Hello and thank you guys for coming back to the channel. Before I start, I'd like to address the hashtag quarantine EDH that I've been using with my recent EDH videos. If you are a content creator watching this video by some miracle, I encourage you to join with me in using this hashtag to create an area where people can see the most recent EDH content and brew with all these new cards in their time in isolation. Stay safe, everyone. We've been playing Blink, but have we been playing the best Blink? Yorion Sky Nomad will never be the perfect companion we want for EDH due to the fact that we are only allowed to play 100 cards in the deck. However, just because a companion won't be this deck's companion, that doesn't mean we can't play it normally. For all of those not acquainted with Yorion, it reads 3 mana of any type and 2 hybrid Azorius mana for a 4/5 flyer with companion. This companion is irrelevant for us, but the last ability is not. When it enters, flicker any number of permanents you control until the end step. This is a very powerful commander that, in my opinion, may take the spot of the best flicker commander over Brago for a few main reasons. Brago, King Eternal, is able to flicker any player's permanents, destroying tokens and ruining enchantment themes. However, this is only going to happen when Brago does combat damage, meaning that several slots in the deck must be dedicated to making him unblockable, which takes up multiple card slots and takes away from the number of enter the battlefield or flicker cards that may be used so that the deck can operate, and stacks decks that restrict combat make him even less viable. However, Yorion does not have these restrictions. Board wipes are even better with this guy than in Brago. You float mana, flicker this commander, phase everything out, and then destroy everything. Your stuff re-enters and you get intense value. Unfortunately, we cannot combo as greatly because cards like Peregrine Drake won't enter into the end step. Before we continue, I almost never ask you guys to subscribe early in the video, but today I will! Or I just did. The interactions in this deck are based off of enter the battlefield triggers and flicker cards. Some of our most powerful enter the battlefield effects can win the game by themselves if we get enough turns consecutively using them. Agent of Treachery is one such of these cards, as turn after turn we will find ourselves grabbing one beautiful permanent from each opponent. Also at the 7 mana slot but in a different color is Angel of Creating Tokens, Removing Counters, and Recursion. Pretty self-explanatory. A lot of things low on the mana curve in terms of creatures will likely be incremental value spells like Wall of Omens or Boreas Charger, ramp, and card draw. This means we must fill the top of the curve to optimize value with cards that have those aforementioned effects. And thanks to Diluvian and Illuminate Primordial, along with the likes of Meteor Golem and Resolute Archangel, the 7 mana slot is a very crowded one due to how strong the cards are, but we need to fill in the rest of our curve starting with 6 mana. At 6 mana is Azar the Lawbringer, which can be very rude to people and keep everyone from playing instants and sorceries during the next turns. Plus, Duplicant is going to be absolutely crazy when we flicker. Sun Titan is the recursion we need for Fallen Walls or Cracked Mana Rocks, and mind you, Sun Titan is also one of the best white cards in Commander. The final 6 mana plus creature in the deck is Sunblast Angel, because of the nature for board wipes to be incredibly strong in this deck. We can just flicker our commander out and then wipe the board to spare ourselves and make sure our commander is not tapped to take full advantage. But before we move on, let's touch on all the other wipes in this deck, and wipe we will do to kill all of the germs on this table. We want Dust to Dawn, Fumigate, Time Wipe, Cleansing Nova, and Day of Judgment, because more board wipes makes this deck more powerful, but too many are too chaotic. Okay, that's over with. Let's get back to the actual cards in this deck. These are going to be the cards between 3 and 5 mana. We can get a lot of value off of these cards, so we want to make sure they are as good and as powerful as possible. So we're going to start off with Archaeomancer. Because every single turn we should be getting something back with this all-star. 1 mana, flicker our commander, flicker our board, repeat. Cloudbrazer is even a better Mulldrifter in all actuality, and both are going to keep our hands very full and allow us to be able to flicker things very well. Eldrazi Displacer is going to flicker things like our commander and bring him back right away. Ifara God of the Polis is a card draw engine with all that incidental card draw. Possibly we could draw up to 4 extra cards in one go around the table. This may not seem incredible or that powerful, but card advantage is what wins games of Commander often. Felidar Guardian or Flicker With both slowly go infinite with our commander. With these we get to flicker our entire board, and then at the end step they re-enter and we get to do it all again. When we do flicker our entire board, cards like Karmic Guide will keep our board full, and we can flicker in response to the Echo Cross to avoid it, or use Revelark to go infinite and bring back a card like Wall of Omens. Core Cartographer is going to be an amazing ramp piece in this deck because it is, as all things, repeatable. I think you guys get the point now. We use creatures with flicker abilities to flicker our commander, and then we say flicker too much, but we still flicker all of our non-land permanents with enter the battlefield abilities to get a lot of value. Stonehorn Dignitary and the likes of Reflector Mage protect our strategies while these engines churn. The interactions with cards like Felidar Guardian are, in my opinion, what pushes this deck to be better than Brago, who is in this deck. But we definitely want to help the blink effects with instants and sorceries. As much as we may want to inundate our deck with a bunch of these infinite blink effects with our commander, we should not. If we do this, we lose the ability to flicker our people out at instant speed in response to a sweep or targeted removal. Cloud Shift, Eerie Interlude, Ephemerate, Essence Flux, Ghostly Flicker, and Momentary Blink are the names of these effects, and they are not that popular, but they certainly exist. Familiar's Ruse is a similar effect, but instead of flickering, it just gives us a chance to play this card again for another Enter the Battlefield trigger. But what about our artifacts, and especially our mana rocks? Is the Blink theme going to affect what we play there? The answer is yes. Azorius Signet, Mind Stone, and Soul Ringer are all normal mana rocks, but are not going to be abused besides entering untapped and providing us a chance to use extra mana to activate a land or hold up removal, whether it's a Path to Exile or another spell. What we can break is Basalt Monolith, which we may need to flicker faster than our commander to completely break if we want to play something not at instant speed. Leyline of Anticipation is a bit more money than we want to spend on the deck right now, but it would be great in this deck. Although we do not need the mana from it most of the time, Coveted Jewel is going to give us a crazy amount of mana as it enters every turn and draws us 3 cards. It should not be stolen from us because it won't be on the battlefield. We can flicker our entire board, remember, all non-land permanents, with our commander, so we can flicker these artifacts and get incremental value off of them. Leaving mana rocks for now, we head to Panharmonicon, the biggest splurge of this deck, and probably the most impactful card in the deck. And Strionic Resonator is another powerhouse of a card. This brings us all the way to Spine of Ish-Sa, and let me explain myself because this may seem like a worse Meteor Golem, but it's actually not. The flicker effect is basically the same, but we want the Spine not only for redundancy, but because it's so much harder to kill. A board wipe we can't respond to kills the Golem. A spell with Split Second kills him. A Corrosive Grip may kill the Meteor Golem, but it just sends this guy back to our hand. Moving on from the artifacts for now, this brings us to the enchantments. Ah, enchantments. It feels like just a day ago I was making my Saga Tribal deck tech, and now here I sit, actually using you. Kiora, Best the Sea God, and Elspeth Conquers Death will be repeated and abused to create a wild amount of 8/8s and removal. Love it. Grasp of Fate will evolve with the game and take care of giant tokens. Or literal giant tokens. We can flicker this to either continue to kill tokens, remove counters, and maybe disrupt a combo as it emerges. We can trade up to the biggest threats on the board, and if we don't want to change targets, we don't have to. Finally, Call for Unity is the last non-land card we will explicitly discuss, and it will boost our creatures to victory so we can swing in and win. Before we get into the lands, I want to take a second and thank you guys all for watching until this point, and I ask that you please leave a comment telling me one thing that you either liked about this video or one thing you'd like me to improve upon. Please be nice, but I'd really like to hear your constructive criticism. Back to the lands. With the extra mana I have mentioned before by flickering our artifacts, we can activate something like Castle Ardenvale or Castle Vantress. These will be repeatable mana sinks that can help us gain a slight advantage in a given game. Cards like Field of Ruin or Myriad Landscape can be cracked at instant speed. Irrigated Farmland, Lonely Sandbar, and Secluded Steppe can all be cycled and replaced with extra mana. Moorland Haunt and Rogue's Passage can give us creatures, and we can use the passage as a political land to give other commanders unblockable. So as this set releases, I hope everyone has a great time from your own homes and maybe even picks up some singles or packs if you can. Make sure to support your LGS and see what they're doing in this time. And as always, the deck list is in the description below. So thank you guys so much for watching and have a great day.